And I want you to understand that the Lord made a very significant remark when He said that my joy might remain in you, that your joy might remain full. And you say, why? Because a full cup is less likely to be polluted with other things. I'm not an advocate of trying to get rid of everything you're doing wrong. I'm an advocate of filling up on the right. I'm an advocate of keep putting in the right stuff, keep putting in the right stuff, keep putting in the right stuff. I mean, shove so much of the right stuff in there that the wrong stuff doesn't feel comfortable anymore. You can tell that you're carnal when all of a sudden you turn on an old radio station, you turn on an old TV show, and you immediately fall right back into where you were, what you were doing, how you were doing it, and so on and so forth. And when you begin to realize that, you sort of kind of relish in it a little while, and you kind of daydream a little bit, and the next thing you know, you're going places that you have no business going, even if it's only in the recesses of your mind. One of the best ways to overcome that is to keep the cup full of the right kinds of things. I'm an advocate, believe it or not, listening to preaching, listening to the right kind of music, the right kind of stuff. Keep the cup full. That way you're less likely, whenever something comes in that's not right, for it to grab a hold of you. I was told by a shepherd in Romania when we were there, and they kept bringing sheep out every day in the morning early, and we stopped him and through the interpreter talked to him, and I asked him a couple of questions about being a shepherd. He had on this big thing that was outside, made him look like a haystack, and he said he would stand there and the sheep would get around him, and it wasn't to fool the sheep, it was so that the wolves or the coyotes that would come around there would think he was a haystack, and they would get close enough to the sheep that the shepherd could knock him in the head. Two things he told me about sheep. He said, number one, only a sick sheep will follow another shepherd. He said when that sheep is first born, that lamb is first born, there is an indelible imprint put upon that lamb. That lamb knows his shepherd. John chapter 10 verifies that. My sheep know me and are known of me, and they know my name. They know when I call them, and so on and so forth. So he told me that was the first two things he said. Number one, the shepherd knows the sheep, and the sheep know who the shepherd is. Number two, the way they prevent disease is not by filling them full of antibiotics. It's by feeding them good, nutritious diets. And he said by them being nutritionally fed and kept up to par, he said they are less likely to get sick, they are less likely to get infested with bugs or some kind of disease, and it makes a difference in the wool that they put out. You know what? That's verified in the Bible. When the Lord said of all the things to the Apostle Paul, He said, feed the flock of God over the which He made you overseers. He said to Peter, Peter, feed the sheep, feed the sheep, feed the sheep, feed the sheep. You say, what's important in a Bible-believing church? It's to feed the sheep. Amen. Feed the flock of God. Why? It makes you less prone to disease and infestations and bugs and things getting in you and messing up your wool. And then you got to spend all the time cleaning the wool and picking the wool and shearing the wool and all that other kind of stuff instead of letting the sheep enjoy its life. And too often in the Christian life, we spend all the time on picking all the diseases off of us instead of let's keep the cup full.